All right, so for your upcoming quiz on 1-7 to 111, I'm just going to do a couple more of our rational function problems. There are, I think, four. Let me check. There are actually four of these that you'll get as a review, but I'm only going to do the first couple on this video, and then you can just check my work on the others as you're working them out yourself. All right. So there's a question just like this on the first part of your quiz, and it literally asks for all these pieces, and each piece obviously counts individually. So it is a large chunk of your quiz is this type of question. All right. So when I look at example number one here, all right, the first thing remember I'm always going to do is I am going to factor my function. Okay, so for the top, it's going to be a 20 and a -9. That's going to give me a -5 and a -4. So I know that's going to factor into x minus 5 and x minus 4. All right, for the bottom, it will be a -4 and a -3. So that's going to be -4 and +1. So x minus 4, x plus 1. All right, so we're factored. Okay, and then we do know, we see here now that our x minus 4s are going to cancel. Okay. And then that's going to give me a reduced equation of x minus 5 and x plus 1. All right. So I am going to go ahead and remember that anything that cancels, all right, does result in a whole. Okay. So I do know I'm going to go down here right now, and I'm going to go ahead and put since x minus 4 canceled, there is a whole at x equals 4. Now, I'll come back and finish this later, but I just want to make sure I remember that. It canceled up here, therefore it does result in a whole down here. All right. Now, for the rest of this, all right, so horizontal asymptotes, remember, horizontal asymptotes are Bobo Botten eats DC. All right, so we're going to look at the original function, and I'm going to look right here. Our exponents are the same, so that's the one we're going to use here. And if our exponents are the same, we divide our coefficients. So that's going to be 1 divided by 1, which just gives me y equals 1. Make sure you have y equals, okay? Don't just put 1. It has to be y equals 1 for a horizontal asymptote, and then vertical asymptotes are going to be x equals. All right, so y equals 1 is your horizontal asymptote. Okay, so vertical asymptotes, all right, are where your numerator I'm sorry, your denominator, Lord. Numerator's the next one. Your denominator equals 0. Okay, so we've already established that the 4 cancels, so we're looking right here. So we're going to say, where does x plus 1 equal 0? And that happens when x equals -1. Again, make sure you have x equals. All right, so our zeros are where our numerator equals 0. So that's going to be at x minus 5. So that means x equals 5. But that is an ordered pair, okay? This is an aspect. That is a line, okay? They want a 0. So that is the ordered pair 5, 0. Line, line, ordered pair. All right, y-intercept is also an ordered pair, okay? So for the y-intercept, we know that we're going to plug in 0 for x. So that's going to give me 0 minus 5, because I'm going back up to here, and 0 plus 1, which gives me -5 over 1, or -5. Y-intercept has a 0x value. We plugged in 0 for x, and we got -5. So our y-intercept is 0, -5. All right, line, line, point, point. Okay, so for the coordinates of the whole, that is because of the cancellation up here, right? We already know our x value is going to be 4. So I'm going to go ahead over here, and I'm going to go ahead and put my 4. I know my x value is 4. That came from the problem. All right, so then we're going to plug in the x value into the reduced equation to get the y value. Okay, that's what you're going to do. So if I plug in 4 into my reduced equation, that's going to give me 4 minus 5 and 4 plus 1, which gives me negative 1/5. So my y value of the whole is negative 1/5. All right, so now we're good to go, okay, on all of that. All right, domain and range, and then in behavior. All right, so domain, we talk about our x's. So what could our x not be? All right, well, our x could not be negative 1. So let me go through here and highlight this. So for domain, what can our x not be? Well, we have a vertical asymptote, which gave me x equals negative 1. So we can't have an x value of negative 1. And we have a hole at x equals 4. So these are the things that x cannot be. So we're going to go negative infinity up to negative 1, union, negative 1 up to 4, union 4 to infinity. All right, and then for the range, we look at what our y values cannot be. Well, we've got a horizontal asymptote up here, so we can't have y equals 1. And the y value of the whole is negative 1/5, so that's what we cannot have there. So that's going to give me negative infinity up to negative 1/5, union, negative 1/5 up to 1, union 1 to infinity. All right? Okay, and then in behavior. All right, so in behavior, you're going to look at this like a couple of things. Remember, if we have asymptotes, right, so we have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 1. All right, so that means the limit as x approaches negative infinity and the limit as x approaches positive infinity of our function, which is f of x, are going to approach that asymptote because it's a horizontal asymptote. All right, so that's our ends. That's the two ends. All right, however, we do still have two other things going on here. We have something that's going to happen at our vertical asymptote, and we have something that's going to happen at this hole. I'm going to deal with the hole value next. All right, so as we approach the value of the hole, which is 4, so 4 from the left and 4 from the right, we will approach the y value of that. All right, and then the last one we have is as we approach the vertical asymptote. So negative 1 from the left and from the right. Okay, so remember, as we approach a vertical asymptote, we're either going to an infinity or a negative infinity. Okay, so as we're approaching negative 1 from the left, we are going to go towards positive infinity, and as we approach negative 1 from the right, we are going to go towards negative infinity. Okay, and you could have done a sign analysis on that to see that. Just look very, very close to negative 1 and very, very close on the left and on the right. Okay, but ultimately what's happening there is if you put in like negative 1.1, negative 1.1 minus 5 is negative, negative 1.1 plus 1 is still negative, and two negatives make a positive, which is why we're approaching positive there. If we come from the other side, we would have a positive and a negative, which makes it a negative. All right, so there's one example. All right, let's look at another example. All right, so again, first thing we're going to do is we're going to factor. So the bottom here is going to be 2, negative 3, so negative 2, negative 1. We can factor out a 4 on the top. All right, so that gives me a reduced equation of, because we do see that these will cancel, 4 over x minus 1. All right, so for Bobo Botten, right? Bobo button. Bigger on bottom, that's Bobo, means y equals 0. Vertical asymptotes are denominator. So we're going to say x minus 1 equals 0 when x equals 1. So we have a vertical asymptote at x equals 1. Zeros will be when the top equals 0. The numerator is only 4. 4 is never going to equal 0. So there are no zeros in this function. All right, y-intercept is where we plug in 0 for x. So that's going to be 4 divided by 0 minus 1. So we have a y-intercept at 0, negative 4. All right, and now let's go down here to calculating the coordinates of the whole. So we know the one that canceled up here is x minus 2. So that means x equals positive 2. So we know 2 is our x value. Plug that in. 4 over 2 minus 1 is 4 over 1, which is 4. So our y value is 4. So there's the coordinates of the whole. All right, so now let's talk again about all the x's we cannot have. X can't be 2, and x can't be 1. So that makes our domain negative infinity up to 1, union 1 to 2, union 2 to infinity. And then our y can't be 0, and y can't be 4. So negative infinity up to 0, 0 to 4, and 4 to infinity. All right, so again, horizontal asymptote. Our extreme ends, and this is f of x again. Okay, so we're going to approach that horizontal asymptote, which is going to be 0. All right, vertical asymptote is 1, so we're going to go 1 from the left and 1 from the right. Okay, if I go 1 from the left, okay, that will be like 0.9. If I plug in 0.9, that's going to give me a negative on the bottom. A positive divided by a negative is going to be a negative. If I plug in 1.1, that's going to be a positive, so that's going to give me a positive. And then the only other one we have is our value of the x value of the whole that we found. So 2 from the left, 2 from the right, and that always equals that y value. So 4 and 4. All right, so now you've got a couple of these to look at. You are also going to look at number 3 and number 4 and just work through those on your own. And that's just kind of a review for your quiz tomorrow. All right, thank y'all.